Good morning to everyone. I'm very happy and elated to be here today at the ET Smart Pharma Summit. It's an honor speaking amidst the presence of more than 100 leaders from pharmaceutical industry. There are very companies like Pfizer, Bharat Serums, AstraZeneca, and so on. I'm sure all of you present here today are adept with today's theme of the summit, India, a pharmacy to the world. India is a key player in the global pharmaceutical industry. During COVID times, that was a defining moments for India to showcase or the world to witness that India played a very crucial role in terms of giving a lot of essential medicine during that time, like hydrochloroquine. Many countries requested our country to share the medicine, and our Honorable Prime Minister was generous enough to deliver to many countries, more than 30-40 countries. So thanks to the pharmaceutical companies, what an incredible journey it has been, especially for the pharmaceutical sector. I still remember during our 60s and 70s, India could only produce about 1.5% of the medicine out of the kind of quantity that was required in India for our country's requirement. But today, we produce 85% of India's needs. So this has been an incredible journey, and I should acknowledge all the Indian companies who have really made India proud. So earlier to that, we were always depending on the imported medicine for our consumption. And all our neighboring countries today, they are so much grateful to the leadership and to this country. We all know that the second thing is vaccination. Earlier, we all know that those who are in this sector, any vaccine to come out, it takes minimum of 10 good years to fully standardize the vaccine and accept it in the market. And there are some vaccines, I think, which have taken even centuries to get developed. So like leprosy, smallpox. Smallpox vaccine took almost a century, more than a century. Rotavirus vaccine also took many years before it really came into the actual use. But COVID, thanks to our brilliant scientists and researchers of this country, we were able to develop the vaccine along with the countries like US, Russia, and UK. We were also able to have our own homegrown vaccine, thanks to Bharat Biotech, Covaxin. So this has made the India proud. So we are the only country, probably in the entire world after China, who have surpassed giving 200 crore and above doses of vaccine to our countrymen. So this is incredible journey of this industry. So we all know today, from a developing country to a developed country to the developing country, we are fighting with those developed nations in the pharmaceutical sector. Today I am very happy to say that out of all the vaccines that the globe requires, we are able to supply, generate 50% of the global vaccine we are trying to supply from India alone. So this speaks volumes about our companies. The most important factor of pharmaceutical industry is that the generic drug. In fact, generic drug manufacturing and supply has become synonymous with our country. So India is able to cater more than 20% of the total global consumption, the global demand. So generic drug production has not only helped our own people, it has been helping all Latin America, African nations, and so many countries that are depending for our generic medicine. It has also helped for easy and affordable healthcare in this country without compromising the standardization of the medicine. So we are also the second largest number of Food and Drug Administration approved medicine manufacturing plants that we have in this country. So we all knew before 70, we had only from 5%. Today we have occupied 20% of the total generic global demands. So for this pharmacy sector to grow, the pharmaceutical sector to grow in this country, we also need solid policies. That is what our union government under the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, is trying to do. We have the right ecosystems. We have the highest number of pharmaceutical graduates and postgraduates graduating every year on year. Similarly, we have the national institutes who are training our skilled youngsters. Similarly, there are a lot of multinational companies who are also supporting us in research and development. Research and development and innovation is the key for the future of the pharmaceutical business in this country. So, regarding the patents, we all know that there is a very good opportunity for Indian companies to really pick up on this, because between 2018 and 2024, I think there are a lot of patents which are branded molecules. Their expiry is going to happen between 18 and 24. And there is almost about $250 billion of net worth business in this. There is a huge opportunity. I think our Indian companies should really look for these things. And as I've already mentioned, there is going to be a mega pharma parks, and since I represent Karnataka, I would also take an opportunity to invite uh, the large companies to set up your units, to set up your facilities, be it research and development, because the startup companies, we have more than 2,300 startup companies only in healthcare alone in Bangalore. In total, we have more than 12,000 startup companies in our state. So Bangalore is acting as a startup capital of the country, and especially in the fields of healthcare and medicine, we are the pioneers. We have the right ecosystem. So I take this opportunity to invite you all. And secondly, the production cost also matters. When we compare to US, our production cost is not even 1/3. So that is why we have a huge opportunity. In fact, there are a lot of companies, multinational companies, who wants to come and set up their units in India because we have the right working ecosystem. We have large facilities, pro-sector policies. So this is the atmosphere, conducive atmosphere for any company to come and, develop their products. And the next big thing that we all know is the biopharma. So there is a immense potential. There is an immense potential, but our growth has not been as good as in generic medicine. We are still at 1.5% of the total global consumption or the demand. So there is a lot of opportunity to at least double or triple in the next 5 years. So we need to at least occupy 8 to 10% of the global presence, and this is where I think our companies should really lay emphasis on. I know that we have issues with KSMs, intermediary drugs and APIs. This is where there is a huge potential and demand, and our budding entrepreneurs, the startups, the established companies should really lay an emphasis and try to not depend on those countries, because we are depending on few countries for KSMs and our APIs. So if that sector has been taken care, the pharmaceutical sector in India will really will develop multifold from the present situation. So coming back to the potential of the biopharmal in general, so we all know that there is a huge economy benefits. There is about more than $200 billion dollars of economy, which is going to be there by 2024 or 2025. So our Indian companies, though we have almost 2,500 biotech companies in this country, so we need to make a significant presence there. For this to happen, I know that we need huge investments. So that investments, we can term it as a risky investments sometimes. So we need a cohesive partnership with collaborative effort by the governments, the large multinationals, private entities, and our R&D research centers. So apart from biopharma, the last thing that I would like to, as a medical doctor, I have observed is that we have neglected on those neglected diseases. Most of the countries, developed countries, they have neglected the tropical diseases, NTD. So there is a huge scope because every year there are close to 2 billion people who are affected. And at least 2 lakh people die every year, year on year. So the financial aspect is on one side, the growth of your company is on the other side. But the real meaning can be given by really developing this NTD medicine in a big way. So Indian companies should really focus on the neglected diseases, tropical diseases. So there is a huge scope in the world because a lot of African countries, a lot of tropical countries, they do not have any kind of opportunity or the ecosystem, right ecosystem there. So they will be depending on Indian companies to really cater all this medicine. And the world's first leprosy vaccine, we all know that it was developed in India. It was developed in India, and out of the 18 drugs that we have in this world, 6 are from India. And similarly, out of 10 new vaccines, 6 are again from India. And thanks to all our researchers, thanks to all our scientists who have really brilliantly performed and made this country again proud. And our ICMR is also doing everything possible to support the cause. And lastly, we have a lot of advantages because in India, like the kind of clinical trials, it is not as cumbersome as in other developed countries. So we have seen during the COVID times, we have seen in many other occasions. The kind of population that we are, that itself is a great advantage for your clinical trials. And the diverse pool of study also, because 18% of the world population is India. So that really helps for the new companies, new products to go through the clinical trials. And apart from that, the cost of clinical trial in abroad, it is very expensive. When compared to US, in India, the clinical trial, they say it costs only 1/10 of the cost. So that is why if you observe, there are a lot of multinational companies who wants to try their vaccine and do their clinical trials in India. So I would like to conclude by saying that India's pharmaceutical journey right from the beginning has been exemplary. And from Atmanirbhar Bharat, as our Honorable Prime Minister said today, we are self-reliable, almost we are self-reliable. From being self-reliable, let us grow this country, let us grow this sector to ensure that the world tomorrow should depend on India for its pharmacy. So India should be the pharmacy to the world. So Bharat pe Vishwa Nirbhar, that should be the line that we should all try to concentrate on. So ecosystem, innovation and startups. These are the 3 virtues that we should all remember in propagating this sector ahead. And thank you once again for the Economic Times ET to have organized this beautiful summit, meaningful summit. And I wish the summit a grand success. Namaste. Jai Hind.